Lena, you coming to dinner or should I just start? I called from the kitchen. Yeah, just a minute, she said. Her voice was flat, distracted. I stood there stirring the pasta that had already gone soft. She'd been just a minute for almost 20. When she finally walked in, she didn't even glance at me. Her phone was in her hand again, thumb tapping quickly. Work? I asked, forcing a smile. She sat down without looking up. The phone buzzed twice before she even picked up her fork. Want me to put it away? I asked quietly. She blinked like I'd interrupted her from somewhere far away. No, it's fine. Just messages from the team. The word team used to mean something familiar, her coworkers at the design firm. But tonight it sounded rehearsed. I tried to laugh. They really don't let you breathe, huh? Deadlines, she said, smiling faintly, but her eyes didn't follow. We ate in silence. The only sound was her fork tapping against the plate and that damned buzzing every few minutes. I took a sip of water. You've been working late a lot lately. Yeah, you okay? She looked up, startled. What do you mean? I don't know. I shrugged. You've just felt far away. I'm fine, Ethan, just tired. Okay. That one word felt like a wall slamming down. I let it stand. I was good at letting walls stay up, pretending they weren't there. After dinner, she disappeared into the bedroom. I stayed behind, washing dishes just to have something to do. The phone buzzed again on the table. I glanced at it. No name, just a number. I shouldn't have cared, but I did. When she came back out, she was wearing her robe, hair down, eyes on the floor. You going to bed? I asked. Yeah, you? In a bit. Okay. She smiled, soft and small, like an apology she didn't finish saying. The bedroom door closed. I leaned against the counter, staring at the dark window. My reflection looked tired, older. It wasn't just tonight. It had been weeks of half smiles, of her phone always face down, of her body next to mine but her mind miles away. I told myself it was work, stress, maybe even me. Maybe I was boring her. People change, right? Love fades, but that didn't make it hurt less. When I finally went to bed, she was asleep or pretending to be. Her back faced me, the soft blue light from her phone flickering on the sheets. I lay there staring at the ceiling. Good night, I whispered. No reply. The next morning, she was already dressed when I woke up. Early meeting? I asked, voice still heavy with sleep. Yeah, she said, tying her hair into a bun. Don't wait up tonight, okay? Might be a late one. Sure. She leaned down, kissed my cheek, but her lips barely touched my skin. I wanted to say something, to ask, are we okay? Do you still love me? But the words stuck somewhere behind my ribs. When the door closed, the apartment felt too quiet. I picked up her coffee mug. Lipstick on the rim. Same shade she used to wear on our first dates. Funny how small things can still hurt. That evening, I tried to distract myself. Cooked, cleaned, even turned on the TV. Nothing worked. It was almost 10 when she walked in. Hey, she said softly. Hey. She hung her coat, avoiding my eyes. Long day? The worst, she sighed. Just want to shower and sleep. Her phone buzzed again. She froze for half a second before picking it up. Work again? I asked. Yeah. Must be some project. She nodded, already walking away. Lena, I said. She stopped. I miss talking to you. She turned back, surprised. We're talking now. Not like this. Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked at the floor, then said quietly, I'm sorry. I'm just tired, Ethan. Please don't make this a thing tonight. I nodded, pretending that made sense. Okay, I said. Good night. Good night. Later, I sat on the couch with the lights off. The glow from her phone seeped through the hallway. A few minutes passed. Then I heard her voice, low, soft, not meant for me. Yeah, she whispered. No, he's asleep. I held my breath. I know, she said after a pause. I miss you too. The words hit like a punch I didn't see coming. My hand tightened on the armrest, nails digging into the fabric. My throat went dry. She laughed quietly, the same laugh that used to belong to me. For a moment, I thought about walking in, demanding the truth. But something inside me cracked instead. I just sat there in the dark, listening, the sound of her voice, soft, sweet, Familiar was suddenly the loneliest thing I'd ever heard. When the call ended, I stared at the wall for what felt like hours, and in that silence, I realized something I'd been too scared to admit. Love doesn't disappear all at once. It fades in whispers, one lie at a time. The next morning felt heavier than usual. I made coffee, but the smell turned my stomach. Lena's voice from the bedroom broke the silence. "Yeah, I'll call you later," she said quietly. I froze. Then came the name, soft, familiar, like a ghost I didn't expect to hear. Ryan. She hung up when she noticed me standing by the doorway. Her eyes widened. "You scared me." "Sorry," I said. "Who's Ryan?" The air thickened. She blinked too fast. "What?" "I heard you," I said softly. "You said his name. It's no one important." "No one important gets a call at 7 a.m., I said. "Tell me who he is." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I watched her face drain of color. "Lena," I whispered. "Just tell me the truth. It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" She looked away, arms crossed. "He reached out a few days ago. I didn't want to say anything because I knew you'd overreact." I swallowed hard. Overreact to what? To my wife secretly talking to her ex? Her shoulders tensed. "It was just a conversation." "About what?" She hesitated. "About closure." "Closure?" I almost laughed. "After 3 years of marriage, you suddenly need closure?" Her eyes watered, but she blinked the tears away. "It wasn't like that, Ethan. He texted first." "I didn't want to be rude." "Rude?" My voice cracked. "So you're being polite to the man who broke your heart, but cold to the one who's trying to love you?" "Don't twist it," she snapped. "You don't understand." "Then make me understand," I said. "Because right now it feels like I'm losing you to someone who already had his chance." She took a step back. "You're being dramatic." "Maybe," I said. "But you've been distant for weeks, and now I know why." Her silence was worse than any answer. I rubbed my face, trying to calm down. "Did you meet him?" "No," she said quickly, too quickly. "Lena." Her jaw tightened. "Once coffee, that's all." I stared at her. "When?" "Last week. After work." I felt something inside me collapse, quiet and slow, like a building losing its foundation. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because I knew you'd think it meant something." "Doesn't it?" She shook her head. "No, I just needed to say goodbye properly." "You already did years ago." "I thought I did," she whispered. "But when he messaged, I cut her off." "You what? Missed him?" Her silence answered for her. I walked to the window, staring at nothing. The city outside looked blurry, like I was underwater. "I don't even know what to feel," I said quietly. "Angry? Hurt? I don't want to be either." "You shouldn't be angry," she said. "Nothing happened." "That's not true," I said. "Something did happen. You let him back in. I just needed to know if I was over him. And are you?" She looked at me for a long time, then dropped her gaze. "I don't know." That broke me more than any confession could. I sat on the edge of the bed, trying to breathe. "Do you still love me?" "Yes," she said instantly. "Of course I do, but—" She didn't answer. I laughed quietly, a sound that didn't belong to humor.
You know, I used to think love was enough.
That if I gave you everything, you'd never look back. She stepped closer, kneeling in front of me. "Ethan, I didn't mean to hurt you." "Then why does it hurt so much?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Because I'm confused." "Confused," I repeated. "That's what I am to you now, confusion." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I need some space," I said. "I can't think with all this noise in my head." She stood slowly. "Please don't walk away from me." "I'm not," I said. "I'm just trying to understand how the person I love started lying to me." Her voice cracked. "I didn't lie. You didn't tell me the truth either." We stood there, breathing in the silence we'd built between us. Finally, she said, barely above a whisper, "He reached out. I just needed closure." The words hung in the air, fragile and sharp. I nodded once, unable to speak. In that moment, I realized it wasn't anger eating me alive. It was disbelief. The kind that leaves you standing in the ruins of something you thought would last forever. I turned away, because looking at her hurt too much, and for the first time, I wondered if love could really survive a truth that small but that devastating. I told myself I could trust her. People deserve that, right? Trust, space, the chance to prove you wrong. That morning, she was standing by the mirror, fixing her hair. She looked beautiful, effortlessly so. "You're dressed up," I said. She smiled faintly. "Just a meeting. Work?" Of course, I nodded, pretending that was enough. But it wasn't, not anymore. Her phone buzzed on the dresser. She picked it up too fast. I caught the name before she could tilt the screen. Ryan. My stomach twisted. "He's still texting you?" She froze, then said softly, "It's just coffee, Ethan, I told you." "For closure." "Closure again." I forced a laugh. "That word's starting to sound like an excuse," she sighed. "I'm not hiding anything. You said you trusted me." "I'm trying," I said quietly. "Really, I am." "Then let me prove it," she said. When she left, I told myself I wouldn't check the clock, wouldn't drive anywhere near 7th Street. But my body didn't listen. The cafe was smaller than I remembered. The kind of place where people whispered secrets over cappuccinos. I parked across the street, hands tight around the steering wheel. There she was, Lena, my wife, sitting by the window. And across from her, Ryan looked like the type of man people gravitate toward, confident, comfortable, almost too sure of himself. He leaned forward as she laughed, my wife laughed, and something inside me cracked. It wasn't the sound of her laughter. It was the way she looked at him. That softness, that ease. I hadn't seen that version of her in months. I told myself to get out, walk in, say something. But my legs didn't move. Instead, I sat there, watching through the rain-speckled windshield, my chest tightening with every second. He reached across the table, touched her wrist. She didn't pull away. My jaw clenched. My pulse roared in my ears. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I wasn't sure if I wanted to cry or scream. After a while, I couldn't watch anymore. I started the engine and drove off, staring at the road but seeing nothing. When she came home that night, her perfume hit me first, same scent as always. But now it made my stomach ache. "Hey," she said softly. "You're quiet." I was sitting on the couch, TV off, beer untouched. "Long day." "Same," she said, slipping off her shoes. "You eat?" "Not hungry," she hesitated. "You sure?" "Positive." The silence between us felt sharp. She sat across from me, scrolling through her phone, pretending not to notice the tension. "Good meeting?" I asked finally. She looked up, startled. "Yeah, productive." I stared at her. "Who'd you meet with?" "Just the team," she said too quickly. "The team." I almost smiled. "Right." "Ethan, please don't start." "I'm not starting," I said. "I'm just asking." "I told you, nothing happened." "Didn't say it did." She stood, crossing her arms. "Then what are you implying?" "That maybe you're not telling me everything." Her voice rose. "Because I went for coffee?" "Because you lied about it," I said. "And because you came home smelling like the place I saw you sitting in." Her face went pale. "You followed me?" "I drove past," I said flatly. "Just like last time." "Guess I'm unlucky that way." She dropped her gaze. "You shouldn't have done that." "And you shouldn't be meeting him behind my back," I said. "But here we are." "I needed to see him, Ethan. For me." "Yeah," I whispered. "I saw that too." Her voice cracked. "You don't understand." "You're right," I said. "I don't understand how someone can promise forever and still go looking for yesterday." She sat down slowly, tears brimming. "I didn't plan this." "I know." I leaned back, exhausted. "That's what makes it worse." We sat in silence for a long time. The kind that feels too heavy to breathe through. Finally, she said, "Do you hate me?" I shook my head. "No, I just don't know who you are anymore." "I'm still me," she whispered. "Then why do I feel like I lost you months ago?" She covered her face, sobbing quietly. I wanted to comfort her. I really did, but my hands stayed in my lap. When her crying stopped, she said, "I love you, Ethan." "I believe you," I said. "I just don't think you know what that means anymore." She flinched. "That's cruel." "No," I said softly. "Cruel is watching you laugh with someone who used to break you and realizing I can't make you laugh like that anymore." Her eyes filled again. "I'm sorry," I nodded. "Me too." She reached out, but I stood before she could touch me. "I'm going to bed," I said. "You should too." "Ethan, good night, Lena." I walked away, heart numb, thoughts heavy. Behind me, I heard her whisper. It didn't mean anything, but I knew better. Maybe love isn't enough when someone's already left you emotionally. The text wasn't meant for me. I knew that the second I saw his name. Ryan. Her phone lit up on the nightstand while she was in the shower. I shouldn't have looked, God knows I shouldn't have, but something inside me already knew I wasn't going to like what I'd find. I opened it anyway. I wish I chose you, Ryan. 7 words. That's all it took to end the version of me that believed we could fix this. I stared at the message until the screen went dark, then lit up again. My hands were shaking. My throat felt tight. I wanted to throw the phone, but I just couldn't. Instead, I sat there. Minutes turned into hours. The sound of the shower stopped. Then the hairdryer. Then silence. When she finally came out, she smiled faintly. You're home early, I didn't answer. I just handed her the phone. Her face changed instantly. Ethan, say it, I said quietly. Say what you meant to say. She stared at the screen, mouth open, but no sound came out. I wish I chose you, I repeated. That's not work, Lena, that's not closure. That's betrayal, her voice cracked. It's not what it looks like. It looks like a woman who regrets marrying me, I said. So go ahead. Tell me how I'm wrong, she shook her head, eyes wide. You weren't supposed to see that. That's the part that hurts the most, I said. You didn't say it wasn't true. You just said I wasn't supposed to know. Ethan, please, she whispered, stepping closer. It didn't mean anything. I laughed, cold, hollow. That's the problem, Lena. It meant everything to me. She started crying, real tears this time. I was confused. I didn't even send it. I typed it and deleted it. You thought about it, I cut her off. That's enough, she reached for my arm. You don't understand how lost I've felt. He reached out when I was at my lowest. I didn't want this to happen. But it did, I said. Because you let it, her voice rose. I'm human, Ethan. I made a mistake. Doesn't that count for something? A mistake? I snapped. You don't accidentally tell someone you wish you chose them. Her tears came faster. You've been distant too. You stopped looking at me the way you used to. Because I could feel you slipping away, I shouted. Every night I tried to hold on to you, but you were already gone. She covered her face, sobbing. I didn't mean to hurt you. You did anyway, I said quietly. And now I don't know how to look at you without seeing him. The room went silent, except for her crying. I sat down, my body shaking, my head spinning. Please don't do this, she said through tears. Please don't leave. I'm not leaving, I said. I'm letting go. She dropped to her knees in front of me. Ethan, listen to me, he doesn't mean anything. You're my husband. Then why does it feel like I'm a placeholder? You're not! Then what am I, Lena? Because right now I feel like the guy you settled for. She didn't answer. That silence told me everything I needed to know. I stood and walked to the closet. The sound of the zipper on my duffel bag filled the room. What are you doing? She asked, panicking. Packing. Where will you go? I don't know, I said. Somewhere that doesn't smell like lies. She rushed to me, grabbing my wrist. Don't do this! We can fix it. Fix it? I repeated. You can't glue together something that's already dust. I'll block him, she said quickly. I'll delete everything. I'll do whatever you want. What I want, I said slowly, is for this to not be real. She sobbed harder. Please don't go. I looked at her, really looked, and felt nothing but exhaustion. I stayed because I believed in you, I said. But belief only works when it's mutual. She clung to me, desperate. Ethan, I love you. Maybe you do, I said. But love doesn't look like this. Don't say that. It's true. She shook her head violently. I was lost. I thought maybe seeing him would remind me of who I was before everything got hard. And did it? She hesitated. No, she whispered. It just made me realize how much I need you. I laughed bitterly. Now that I'm walking out? That's not fair. Neither was what you did. She grabbed my bag. Please, Ethan, I'm begging you. I took it from her hands gently. I begged too, remember? I begged for you to be honest. Her eyes were red, her breathing ragged. Don't end us like this. I'm not ending us, I said softly. You already made that choice. I'm just accepting it. She shook her head over and over, whispering no, like a prayer that wouldn't be answered. I walked to the door. my chest tight but my step steady. "Ethan," she called, voice breaking. "Please, I'll change. I'll do better. Just don't leave me." I turned back one last time. "You said you wanted closure, Lena. This is it." Her tears fell freely now. "I'm sorry. I know," I said. "So am I." Then I opened the door. The night air hit my face, cold and clean, and for the first time in months I could finally breathe. I didn't slam the door. I didn't shout. I just walked away, the echo of my own footsteps reminding me that silence sometimes says everything words can't. Maybe it never was. The silence was the loudest thing in my new apartment. The walls were bare, the floor creaked, and the air smelled like dust and takeout. I kept thinking about how Lena used to hum while unpacking boxes, how she'd fill every empty space with life. Now there was only me and the silence. It followed me everywhere. When I made coffee, when I brushed my teeth, even when I tried to sleep, my therapist, Dr. Monroe, said that silence wasn't the enemy. "Sometimes peace starts with pain," she told me during our first session. I remember laughing bitterly. "Peace? I can't even stand being alone in my own head." She smiled gently. "That's exactly where you start, with the noise inside you." I stared at the floor. "What if it never quiets down?" "Then you learn to live beside it," she said. "You stop fighting it so hard." I didn't believe her. Not then. But I wanted to. A week later, Maya texted me, "Hey, heard about you and Lena. You okay?" I stared at the message for a long time before replying. "Not really." She called that night. "Ethan?" "Yeah," her voice was soft. "I'm sorry. I didn't know what happened. I just wanted to check in." "Thanks," I said. "Not many people have." "People never know what to say when things fall apart," she said. "They're scared it's contagious." That made me laugh for the first time in weeks. "Yeah, guess heartbreak spreads fast," she hesitated. "You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to." "I do," I said quietly. "I just don't know how yet." "Start with what hurts most." "The silence," I said. "It's suffocating," she exhaled softly. "I get that. We talked for 2 hours. About nothing. About everything. About how the days felt long and the nights longer." She listened without interrupting, without pity, just listened. When the call ended, I sat there staring at my phone, realizing I didn't feel completely alone anymore. At my next therapy session, Dr. Monroe asked, "How are you sleeping?" "Barely," I said. "The bed feels too big. The apartment feels too small," she nodded. "You miss the noise of another person." "I miss the idea of her," I admitted. "Not who she became, just who I thought she was." "That's part of grief," she said. "You're mourning a version of someone who no longer exists." Her words hit harder than I expected. "So what do I do with that?" I asked. "You accept it," she said. "You let it hurt until it doesn't anymore," I sighed. "You make it sound simple." "It's not simple," she said. "But it's possible." I didn't realize I was crying until she handed me a tissue. That night, I got another text from Lena. "Please answer. Just once." I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over reply. For a moment, I almost typed something, anything. But then I remembered the look on her face when I showed her that text to Ryan. The guilt, the fear, the silence that followed. I turned off my phone. The quiet filled the room again, heavy but different this time. Not as sharp, more like the ache after a wound starts to heal. Maya called again a few days later. "You sound better," she said. "Maybe I am," I replied. "Or maybe I'm just getting used to it." "That's progress," she said. "Even standing still can be progress." "Dr. Monroe said something like that," I said. "She thinks I'm finally facing myself. Are you?" "Trying to," I said. "For years I built my life around someone else. Now it's just me, and I don't know who that is yet." She was quiet for a moment. "Then maybe that's the point," she said. "To find out." Maybe. We didn't talk about Lena. We didn't need to. The silence between us wasn't heavy anymore. It felt peaceful. Later that night, I stood by the window watching the city lights flicker. For the first time, I didn't feel the urge to call her. I didn't replay the arguments or the laughter or the lies. I just stood there, breathing, listening to the hum of traffic below. Dr. Monroe was right. Sometimes peace does start with pain. It doesn't arrive all at once. It comes quietly, like a whisper after a storm, and for the first time, I thought maybe, just maybe, I could learn to live beside it. It was a Tuesday when I got the message. Unknown number. One sentence, "My name is Anna Hale. I think you should know the truth about Ryan." For a second, I thought it was some cruel joke. Then I remembered. Ryan's last name was Hale. I hesitated, then replied, "What truth?" She called almost immediately. Her voice was calm, careful. "You're Ethan, right?" "Lena's husband?" "Ex-husband," I corrected. "Who's asking again?" "Ryan's sister," she said quietly. "And I'm not calling to defend him." I sat down. "Go on," she exhaled. "I found out what he's been doing." "You deserve to know, too." My stomach tightened.
What did he do?
"He's engaged," she said flatly. "Has been for months." My heart skipped. "Engaged? To who?" "A woman named Elise. They met while he was still messaging your wife." I rubbed my face. "You're serious?" "Unfortunately," she said. "Ryan, he has this pattern. He keeps people close until they start loving him too much. Then he destroys them." I stayed silent. She continued, her voice trembling a little. "Lena wasn't the first. She won't be the last. He makes them believe they're special, then leaves the second he gets bored." I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. So she wasn't lying when she said she didn't mean for it to happen. "No," Anna said. "She just got caught in his web." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. "That bastard," she paused. "I'm not asking for forgiveness on his behalf. I just thought you should know the truth. Maybe it'll help you move on." "It does," I said quietly. "Just not in the way I expected." "How so?" "I don't hate her anymore," I said.
Just sad.
"For both of us," Anna's voice softened. "You sound like someone who's finally letting go." "Maybe I am," I said. "Thank you, Anna." "Take care of yourself, Ethan," she said before hanging up. That night, I told Maya about the call. "Ryan's engaged," I said. Her eyes widened. "To someone else?" "Yeah, he was playing her the whole time," she frowned. "God, and she thought she was the one getting closure." "Turns out she was just another distraction," I said. Maya leaned forward. "How do you feel?" I thought for a moment. "Empty, but lighter," she nodded. "That's what truth does. It hurts, then it frees. I should have seen it," I said. "The lies, the manipulation, but I blamed her for everything." "You weren't wrong to be hurt," she said gently. "But maybe now you can be done being angry." "I'm not angry," I said. "Not anymore. I just pity her. She believed in a man who only believed in himself." Maya's eyes softened. "That's the first kind thing you've said about her in weeks." I gave a weak smile. "Maybe it's time to stop carrying what she broke. Closure." She asked. "Yeah," I said. "Real closure," she tilted her head. "Then go talk to her." I blinked. "Why would I do that?" "Because you deserve to end it on your terms," she said. "Not with a text or a lie." "Face to face," I hesitated. "You think she wants to see me?" "Maybe not," she said. "But this isn't about her anymore." Her words stuck with me long after she left. I drove by the old house that night just to see it. Her car was parked out front, lights on inside. Part of me wanted to knock. To tell her what I'd learned. To tell her she wasn't the only one he lied to. But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I sat there in the car, watching the glow of the windows and thinking about how love can turn into something unrecognizable. I pulled out my phone, scrolled to her contact, hovered over call. My finger trembled, but I didn't press it. Dr. Monroe's words echoed in my mind. Peace doesn't mean everything's fixed. It means you're no longer breaking because of it. And maybe that's what this was. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just peace. Still, Maya's voice echoed too. Closure doesn't always come by staying silent. So maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'd see her not to reopen wounds, but to finally close them. For now, I just sat there, breathing in the quiet night air, realizing that pity didn't feel as heavy as hate. Later, when I told Maya I didn't confront her, she smiled knowingly. "You will," she said. "When you're ready." I looked at her. "What if I never am?" "Then maybe that's your answer," she said softly. "Not all endings need words," I nodded. "Still, I want her to know I don't hate her." "Then tell her that," Maya said, "even if she never hears it." I lay in bed that night thinking about Lena, about Ryan. about everything that had crumbled and everything that was slowly rebuilding inside me. For the first time, I didn't replay what went wrong. I didn't wonder what I could have done differently. Instead, I whispered into the darkness, "I forgive you." The words didn't fix anything, but they felt like the start of something new, a truth beneath all the lies. I saw her before she saw me, Lena. Standing at the corner cafe, her coat wrapped tightly around her like armor, though her shoulders slumped. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. I approached slowly. "Hi, Lena," she froze. "Ethan." Her voice cracked. "Hi," I repeated calmly, taking the seat across from her. She stared at me, eyes wide, tearful. I ruined everything," she whispered. I didn't answer right away. I just watched her listening. Her confession wasn't new, but hearing it straight from her mouth, seeing the weight of it on her, made the silence heavy. She began again, fumbling with her hands. "I thought I could fix it. I thought I could explain, make it right." "Explain what?" I asked softly, leaning back. My voice was calm, steady. She swallowed, eyes darting away. "Everything. The lies, Ryan." You shouldn't have what?" I prompted gently. She choked on her words. "I shouldn't have let him back in. I shouldn't have let you see me like this." I held up a hand. "Stop!" She blinked at me. "Stop?" "Yes," I said, voice firm but even. "Stop trying to justify it. Stop trying to make it okay. It's not okay, Lena, and that's fine. I don't need your excuses." Her lower lip trembled. You don't need to tell me anything else," I said, cutting her off gently. "I've already processed it. I've already moved on. You're late to your own consequences." She looked at me, stunned. Her eyes searched my face as if she expected anger or tears or a breakdown. "You're calm," she whispered. "You're not—" "Not what?" I asked. "Not furious," she said. "Not shattered. You should be angry at me." I shook my head slowly. "I was. I am not anymore. Anger doesn't help me. It never helped me before. What helps me is knowing I can choose my peace when I'm with or without you." Her shoulders sagged. "I don't deserve you." I let out a soft breath. "Maybe not, but I deserve myself. And I've chosen myself first." Her hands fell to the table. I thought if I apologized, if I begged, You thought wrong," I said gently. "I can forgive. That doesn't mean I have to return." She closed her eyes, a tear slipping down. I can't believe I let it go this far. That I hurt you so much. You already hurt me," I said. "That's done. What's next is entirely up to you. I don't control it anymore." She opened her eyes, glimmering with desperation. "Can we start over?"
Please, I'll do anything.
"Anything to—" I looked at her steadily. "Start over?" I repeated, letting the words hang. Then I said it quietly, firmly. "I already did, without you." Her face went pale, her mouth opening, closing. She seemed to search for words, for a way to undo the damage. But there were none. None that mattered. I don't know what to say," she murmured. "You don't need to say anything," I said.
You need to learn from this.
"Live with it." "That's your choice now." She lowered her head, tears falling freely. "I ruined everything," she whispered again. "Yes," I said calmly. "You did, but that's on you, not me." A long silence stretched between us. She was crying openly now, full of exhaustion, regret, shame. But I didn't flinch. I didn't waver. My hands rested on the table, still steady. "You're different," she said finally, voice hoarse. "I had to be," I said, "because I couldn't let him, or you, define my happiness anymore. I couldn't hand my peace to someone who didn't value it. I did it for me." Her lip quivered. I never meant to hurt you like this." "I know," I said. "I believe you. But intention doesn't erase action. You need to face that, Lena, not me." She nodded slowly, still sobbing. I understand. I hope you do," I said. "And I hope you take it seriously. This is the first real step toward whatever comes next for you." She didn't say anything more. She just sat there staring at her hands. And I could see, in that quiet resignation, that maybe she was finally starting to learn. I stood, picked up my bag. "Take care of yourself," I said. She looked up, eyes red, voice barely a whisper. "Ethan, yes?" "Thank you for not breaking." I gave a small nod. "I didn't break. And I won't." Not for anyone. Then I walked away. Outside, the air felt different, lighter, free. I inhaled deeply, feeling a calm I hadn't known in months. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was just me again. The power had shifted finally, not because she lost me, but because I reclaimed myself, and that was more than enough. I heard about Ryan first from Anna. She called, voice low, shaky with satisfaction. "He's engaged no more," she said. I raised an eyebrow, leaning back in my chair. "What happened?" "You should have seen it," she replied. "His fiancée found out about everything. The lies, the manipulation, the games. She left him. Just like that. I didn't feel triumph or schadenfreude. Just a quiet confirmation. Karma has a way of catching up, I thought. "Maya," I said later, meeting her at the coffee shop, "he's finally getting what's coming to him." Maya tilted her head, sipping her latte. "Do you care?" I paused. "I don't, in the way I used to care. It's not about revenge. It's about seeing balance restored. Life has its way of correcting itself," she smiled softly. "Sounds like you're finally free." "I think I am," I admitted. "Free from waiting, free from pain, free from all that? What ifs?" The conversation drifted to my writing. "You know," I said, tapping my notebook, "I've started again. After years, I picked it up. I didn't realize how much I needed it until now." Maya's eyes lit up. "I knew it would help. You always had a way with words, your emotions, your thoughts." "It's powerful." I shrugged, hiding the blush creeping up my neck. I forgot how much it felt to create something of my own. To put pieces of myself onto paper, it's liberating. She leaned forward, her voice gentle. "And you deserve to feel that again. You deserve to rebuild." "I'm trying," I said quietly. "Every day feels like reclaiming a little more of me." We sat in silence for a moment, the cafe bustling around us. I could feel her support without her saying anything, a presence that wasn't demanding, just steady. "A lifeline. Have you heard from Lena?" Maya asked softly, breaking the quiet. I shook my head. "No, I don't plan to. She's facing her own fallout. Her world is unraveling, publicly and privately. Social circles, work, even her friends are distancing. She's paying her dues one way or another." Maya nodded. "I guess that's one way karma shows itself." "Yes," I said. "It's strange. I don't feel satisfaction in her downfall. I feel closure. Life has corrected itself, not because I wanted revenge, but because actions have consequences. That's all it is." We talked about small things, my writing projects, the cafes I wanted to try, plans for the weekend. For the first time in months, I wasn't consumed by anger, betrayal, or loss. I was present. I was alive. Later, walking home, I felt the crisp air on my face. My fingers brushed the notebook in my coat pocket, the one I'd started filling again. I smiled faintly. Words used to escape me when I felt trapped. Now they felt like wings. At my apartment, I opened it, letting the quiet wrap around me. I sat at the desk, pen in hand, and began writing. The words flowed naturally, as if waiting all along for this moment. I wasn't writing for anyone else, not for Lena, not for Ryan. I was writing for me. The phone buzzed. It was Lena calling. I stared at the screen. Her name made my chest tighten briefly, but I didn't answer. Not this time. Not for her. I set the phone down and kept writing. Maya's words echoed in my mind. "You deserve to rebuild." Outside, the city moved on, unaware of the tiny victories unfolding in my life. Ryan's schemes, Lena's regrets all faded into the background. What mattered now was me, my voice, my peace, and in that quiet, I realized I was finally seeing it clearly. Karma didn't need me to administer it. Life did it naturally, and while others stumbled, I rose quietly, reclaiming what was mine all along. The pen moved faster now, words flowing like rivers breaking free. For the first time in years, I felt whole, and maybe, just maybe, that was the sweetest revenge of all. I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over Lena's contact. Months had passed, and the weight of her name lingered like a shadow I didn't need anymore. I exhaled slowly, the sea breeze brushing my face, and pressed delete. "Finally," I muttered to no one, though I knew someone was listening. Maya's voice came softly from behind me. "It's a good day for letting go, isn't it?" I turned to see her standing there, hands in her coat pockets, that quiet smile she always carried. I thought I'd feel something more, I admitted. Sadness, anger, maybe even regret. But it's nothing, just peace, she nodded. That's what happens when you stop holding on to what's already gone. You make space for what's next. I kicked at a loose plank on the pier, watching it clatter against the boards. I never realized how much I held myself hostage, waiting for someone who had already chosen to leave. I thought losing her would break me, but maybe losing her was how I found myself. Maya stepped closer. And did you? I hesitated, thinking of the months spent rebuilding. Therapy sessions, coffee dates, quiet mornings writing, the laughter with friends I'd almost forgotten. I think I have, I said finally. I feel lighter, stronger. Not perfect, not even fully healed, but alive again. She smiled, the kind that reached her eyes and made you believe in quiet happiness. You earned that, Ethan. You really did. I looked out at the sunset, the sky a riot of golds and pinks reflecting on the water. It's strange, I said, voice low, how life works. Pain teaches you things you never wanted to learn, and yet it's the only way you grow. I hated the lessons at the time, but now, I see their purpose. Maya leaned against the railing beside me. Do you think you'd ever see her again? I shook my head. No, seeing her wouldn't matter. Closure isn't in confrontation. It's in acceptance. In realizing that I don't need her to feel whole, that I don't need her presence to validate my life. She glanced at me, eyes soft. And Ryan? I laughed quietly, shaking my head. Ryan's chaos is no longer my problem. He's buried in his own mess, and I'm finally free to build, not react. We stood in silence, letting the waves crash against the pier below, the world moving without us, and yet perfectly aligned with us in that moment. I started writing again, I said after a while. Something I abandoned years ago. The words came easier than I expected. It's like finding a part of me I'd forgotten. Maya's eyes lit up. I always knew you'd find your way back to it. Writing is your voice, Ethan, your therapy, your truth. I smiled faintly, feeling a warmth that wasn't tied to anyone but myself. I didn't write to forget. I wrote to remember who I am, who I want to be. She nudged me lightly with her shoulder. And who's that? I glanced at her, the horizon stretching endlessly before us. Someone who survives. Someone who feels. Someone who moves forward instead of dwelling in the past. I'm not perfect. I still stumble. But I keep going. And that makes all the difference. Maya chuckled softly. You sound like you've finally forgiven yourself. I have, I said. Not because anyone else deserved forgiveness, but because I did. And that's enough. The sun dipped lower, turning the sky into fiery streaks of orange and purple. I took a deep breath, letting it fill my lungs, letting the weight of the past slip further into the distance. I didn't move on to spite her, I whispered, almost to the wind. I moved on to save me. Maya squeezed my hand gently. And that's the bravest thing you've done. We stood there a while longer, no need for more words, watching the horizon bleed into night. The pier creaked under our weight, the waves lapping against the supports, the world reminding me that nothing stays still, and neither should I. I thought about all I had lost and all I had gained. About heartbreak, betrayal, nights spent crying and mornings spent rebuilding. About the emptiness that had once suffocated me and the calm that now filled me. This is the first time I feel like myself in years, I said, voice barely audible over the water. You are, Maya said firmly, and you always will be. I nodded, looking at her, at the endless sea, at the sky painted with the promise of tomorrow. I didn't need anyone else's approval or presence. I had me, my words, my peace, and finally I realized that was everything. I turned my face toward the horizon, letting the last light wash over me. My past was behind me. My future stretched out ahead. And for the first time, I felt entirely, completely free.